was in college, we did road rally. High. Maybe it's just volume, but maybe gain. I could keep talking. Maybe I'll switch to Latin just so you think you're in a different place. How's it sound now? Less echoey, maybe. Is it gains pretty far down? It shouldn't be. Really? The little dial? Okay, well, turn that. There's a little band of width right up there, isn't there? The top one, the main gain way up there. There's a little black zone right there. It's on the lesser side of it. Yeah, I hear it going now. Turn down the master on that channel, on the lapel channel. See. My what? Oh, no, that compression is what comp is. That allows Matt to talk at Matt's volume and me and Chuck to talk at normal volume. And it still works. That's what compression does for us.
Did you say he's abnormal?
I don't know that he's abnormal. I think it goes with the territory. But just turn the main volume down a little bit, the big red one. Just turn it down a little bit, half notch or 5 decibels. There you go. That's not so bad. It was sounding a little rough, but anyways, we'll see. If Steve fusses at you on text, then you know where we're at. So we're going to pick up on our study of Isaiah. Chuck did chapter 6 and 7 last week, and this it picks up right after that. It really got into the Assyrian captivity last week, really, didn't it?
Was it?
The alignment between the king of... Yeah.
He was aligned with God for the first part, and then he went and aligned himself with the king of Assyria.
Yeah, the king of Assyria and the king of Israel created an alignment together. Less dependence on God and dependence on man. And you'll see that again today. You'll see that play out. I looked at some different commentaries and it said it was the king of Samaria and the king of... I forget what it was, and it's like, I think that's, Aram. It's like, but it really is, it's the same thing. It's the king of Israel and the king of Assyria is what those are. So.
They asked for help, and he gave them the king of Assyria to take Aram. Because he's the king of Aram, the king of Israel was going to attack him.
It's crazy. And that current event, today you can see just exactly how current that is what today's chapter is going to cover with chapter 8. So the main themes are verses 1 through 4 are a son for Isaiah. 5 through 8, it's Judah's rejection of God's calm waters and the flood of Assyria. 9 through 15 is God is refuge or God is ruin. It's a hard story to tell a lot of times, but God is both. And then the gathering darkness, verses 16 through 22. You can split it up however you want. It tells one story. So we're going to look at verses 1 through 4, the son for Isaiah. So Isaiah 8, verses 1 through 4. Then the Lord said to me, take a large tablet and write on it in common characters, belonging to Maher Shalal Hashbaz, and it will get reliable witnesses, Uriah the priest and Zechariah the son of Jeberechiah to attest for me. And I went to the prophetess, and she conceived and bore a son. And then the Lord said to me, call his name Maher Shalal Hashbaz. For before the boy knows how to cry my father or my mother, the wealth of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria will be carried away before the king of Assyria. All right. So verse 1, we'll start with that, we'll break this down. what is Isaiah told to write? And how is he supposed to write it? Nobody's answering because nobody wants to say that kid's name. It's-
I want to know how long it took to do this.
Sign anything? Junior. Junior. That translates to junior. That's a good sized name. All right, so it says he's going to write belonging to this name. So he's going to take a tablet, a large tablet, and he's going to write on it in common characters. I think some of the translations say in a common pen. And that's what he's going to write, belonging to this name. What kind of tablet do you think it is? I was thinking probably papyrus by then. Originally, I thought stone. I mean, it would make sense. You take stone and you get a stylus, and some of that says even a man's stylus is what you do. Put it in stone, and it could be stone, but I'm with you. I think papyrus is probably more going to be more of a scroll type thing. But either way, write it down permanently. Why do you think it says in common characters? Write on it in common characters. Everybody knows. This is it. This is God saying, this is going to be a prophecy. I want you to write it down. I want everybody to know. And we're also going to get witnesses, and we'll talk about it now. So, verse 3, I'll skip to this, I'm going to go back. But who is Maher-shalal Hashbaz? That is not Brent's order at the Waffle House, I promise. Why do you think God told Isaiah to write his name as he did? So, Grant already said, so everybody will know. So, who is Maher-shalal Hashbaz? Isaiah's son, right? So, I didn't want to lose that. I don't, like you say, I have no idea why he would name him that, other than God said to. But that's, anyways. So, go ahead, Mick. Was it Mickey or was it Paul?
No,
Oh.
I would just look over to Hoffman here, and he says the name means speed to spoil, hasten the prey.
Yeah, I've got that somewhere.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh, that's all right. No. There it is. His name means speed to spoil, hasten to prey. Or it can also mean quick pickings, easy prey. And that's really where God's basically going to give a prophecy. He wants it written down. He wants it written down ahead, this start part of it at least, but ahead of time. And then he's going to, he wants it known is what he wants. So he wants everybody to know. I said this ahead of time. It was just a last minute thing. It's part of it. The name means, like you say, speed to spoil, hasten to prey, quick pickings, easy prey. I would not name my kid Quick Pickings. I promise I would not. Did I name you Quick Pickings? No. Okay. Day one, they would all know, wouldn't they? Oh yeah. You'd have your name written on your back. Kick me, Quick Pickings. Chuck? Slim Pickens. That's true. Slim Pickens had a very similar name. So, when we get to we'll come. I'll go back and forth. So, why do you think he used this name? A name that. How do you think this plays into like verse 4, where before the boy knows how to cry, "My father" or "My mother," the wealth of Damascus and spoil of Samaria will be carried away before the king of Assyria. So, why do you think the name's important? It's part of the prophecy. God said, the Assyrians are going to come. They're going to come before he hadn't even had a kid yet. So you get 9 months plus the time for him to learn how to say mama and dada, which is 9 months. 9 months to a year typically. So, you got less than 2 years. God says, write this stuff down now. And when it happens, everybody will know. That I wasn't lying the whole time. You're a prophet, and I did this. But yeah, the name is even easy pickings. So, and Israel's going to be quick pickings, easy prey. That's just how it's going to work. Damascus is what? Say it again. Damascus is in Aram. Yeah, you're right. Damascus is in Aram. That's where Chuck talked about last week with the king of Aram and the alliance. And I've got your slide with that map and stuff too. Why do you think God told Isaiah to have reliable witnesses? Again, so they would know this is God and know it's true. The reliable witnesses were likely well known to the people at the time, part of the establishment, part of the problem, and they would probably be hostile to Isaiah. Uriah the priest is probably the priest in 2 Kings 16 who builds a replica of the altar in Damascus for Ahaz. Talked about Ahaz last week. And Zechariah is not the Zechariah that is a prophet later. So but these two guys would have probably been known at the time, and not Isaiah's friends, but somebody who would be a reliable witness because they would probably be against what he's prophesying against. So basically, if we went through here, basically God says you're going to have a son, you're going to name him this, easy pickings, because I want you to write it down ahead of time. I want reliable witnesses, and before he's able to talk, Assyria is going to come in and smash everything. So we're going to move on to verses 5 through 8. Judah's rejection of God's calm waters and the flood of Assyria. Starting in verse 5, the Lord spoke to me again, because this people has refused the waters of Shiloah that flow gently, and rejoice over Rezin and the son of Remaliah. Therefore, behold, the Lord is bringing up against them the waters of the river, mighty and many, the king of Assyria and all his glory. It will rise over all its channels and go over all its banks. And it will sweep on into Judah. It will overflow and pass on, reaching even to the neck, and its outspread wings will fill the breadth of your land, O Emmanuel. There is so much symbolism and metaphor and stuff in this stuff. I mean, but it's simple. You can pick through it, to be honest. You can see it, and you can see it. But I think you could do an entire study you could really look almost every single word and do it. So Shiloah, that it talks about, is also, the same word is also Shiloh and Siloam, and the word gradually changes over time. So Shiloh actually is in Genesis. It's Shiloh here, and Siloam in John. And so the same word, and it changes. And just how words change over time, because you're talking about thousands of years, really. So what do you know about the gentle waters of Siloam, which would also be the gentle waters of Shiloah? Do we know about Siloam? New Testament? That's it. There's a guy that gets healed right there. In a pool. It's a pool. So that's how gentle the waters are. It's a pool. Anybody have white caps on their pool? Anybody ever been in a pool that had white caps? Probably not, right? Well, yeah. The earthquake, or one of the water parks when they have the big wave pool and it's, do the body surfing and stuff. In John 9, 1 through 7, as he passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. This is talking about Jesus. And his disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he is born blind? Jesus answered, it was not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Having said these things, he spit on the ground, made mud with saliva, then he anointed the man's eyes with mud and told him, go wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. So he went and washed and came back seeing. Found a couple old pictures online. This is a photograph from the early 1900s when they're starting to do archaeology, and it's before the Islam built on top of all this stuff. They believe this is the pool of Siloam. There's a second pool that they believe it could be it too. But either way, and there are these rectangular pools. I would have always just kind of figured it was round, but it's made with stone and some, and they seem to be rectangular. So anyways, what do you see in this picture that you wouldn't make? You see the steps down into it so people could get in there for the healing properties. In the far end, there's a little black hole. Like water comes through that. I think that's the hole that water comes through. There's water. It still gently flows, so it's not a stagnant pool, but there's a transfer of water through this pool. And I think there's places in the Bible that Hezekiah even builds a ductwork to supply this pool. This is a hand-colored photograph from 1865. I'm glad they hand-colored it because I'm sure that would have been pretty rough to see. Again, when they started doing that, this was from the original survey, when they surveyed Jerusalem that many years ago. They said the aqueduct that fills it, and you can see the little porthole right there. The aqueduct that flows into this pool only drops 1/4 inch in 300 yards. That's not very much drop, is it? So how would you, it's a trickle. So water flows through Siloam, but it ain't going to overflow. It's not going to just rush in. There's an exchange of water, but it's just, like I say, it's a trickle. The water's there will be gentle, is really the key to it. And it's all symbolic, but that's just what we know. Is it really the pool of Siloam? Who would know? But we think it is. We think it is. Some of my problems with some of the archaeology stuff is there's no sticker. There's no little nameplate that really says that it's official. So they try. They try the best they can. I'll give them that. So I'd be remiss if I didn't tell this story. Well, we're in Hawaii. So we stayed with Kevin Patterson and his wife, Sherry. And Kevin was here a few weeks ago. And he talked about what happens when the faithful die. And his wife has ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, is what she has. So he takes us to this place, and what you don't see is these are lava pools. The bottom's lava, it's all lava. It's actually at the beach, but it holds this water, and it's thermally heated from the volcano underneath. So the water was warm at best. It wasn't maybe warmer than outside air temperature, but not hot by any means. But we sat on the edge, is all we decided to do. And Sherry put her feet in there. And Kevin turns to these 3 women, these 3 girls that were there, and he says, "Did I hear this place has healing properties?" He goes, "I don't see any change yet." So he got them laughing pretty good. And he ended up inviting them because he's preaching at the East Hawaii Church of Christ in Hilo. He also used that for an opportunity. As we left, he invited them to come. If they had time free and they were interested, come do it. So, but he made a good calling card with a good joke that they really liked. We have no idea whose dog that is, but he took a liking to Camille. So just there. So anyways, I just had to tell that story. So what does Siloam mean? Verse 7. Go wash in the pool of Siloam. Siloam, Shiloh, Shiloh, what does it mean? Okay, sent. What's sent? What do we know that was sent? Is sent, was sent, will be sent. Yeah, the Word of God, the Son of God, the Word of God, all the same thing, really. But yeah, that's what's sent. So Siloam, when you look at it as the healing powers, what heals? The Word of God. What heals? The Son of God. What heals? God. It's what's sent. So backing up to Isaiah 8, 5 through 8, they refuse the waters of Shiloah. They refuse what was sent. So I got 2 questions. Who are the people? Because it says, because this people has refused the waters of Shiloah. Who are this people, and then what have they rejected when they rejected the gentle waters of Shiloh, Siloam? Who were they, and what did they reject? They're his people. Yeah, they're God's people.
They refused God. That was the waters of
They
choice of the resident. He's the king of Abraham.
yes. Yeah, they have refused God, who was sent. They refused what becomes God's word, which becomes the Son of God. They have refused God's way. You said the contrast, it's the gentleness of God. And they've refused, but they rejoice over Rezin, the son of Remaliah. Rezin is the king of Aram. It's the king of Damascus, king of Syria, right? Is that right?
Aram is
Aram.
a separate country from Assyria.
Okay. It's part.
What happens is the king of Judah asks the king of Assyria to attack Aram, and he does.
Then he just walks
takes
on.
it over.
He just walks on in.
Yep.
So yeah. So these guys are the king of Aram, and Remaliah's son is Pekah, which is the king of Israel, king of Samaria. Some would say, but either way, same area. So God's people have refused the gentleness of Him and have rejoiced over the turmoil of these guys. And this is Chuck's map from last week to kind of show you things. The bright blue being the kingdom of Israel, Judah is in pink, Aram is in teal. So this is the map that he got. And he says, why would the king of Aram, Rezin, be willing to ally himself with the king of Israel, Pekah, against Judah, Ahaz? And why would Judah be concerned that Ephraim had aligned themselves with the king of Aram? You rely on A, you're not relying on God, you're relying on man. And B, you're just setting yourself up for the neighbor, everybody else gets together, you're not going to stand up against all that either.
But people in front of the border,
Yeah.
and normally to get across another country, you have conflict.
Yeah, to get a,
They're aligned, so they just walk across.
and just, yeah, there's no buffer zones. So that's what they should be afraid of. So what's coming? They've rejected God. They believe in man. They've aligned themselves with foreign countries. What's coming? I'll give you a hint. It's underlined. What's coming?
The Syrian king is not going to stop Israel and Aram.
Yeah, the Syrian king's not going to stop with Israel and Aram.
It reads like a flood.
Yeah, it reads like,
The floods don't care what they ruin. Floods are not picky and choosy. They just get everything.
the flood will take everything. Yeah, right. They're not picky and choosy what they're going to take. It's going to take everything. And that's the contrast. The gentle waters of God versus the flood waters of this captivity. Behold, the Lord is bringing up against them the waters of the river, mighty and many, the king of Assyria in all his glory. It will rise over all its channels and go over all its banks. And it will sweep on into Judah. It will overflow and pass on, reaching even to the neck, and its outspread wings will fill the breadth of your land, O Emmanuel. We'll back up there, but you see, as it sweeps down through there, it talks about the river. That's probably, what's across the Jordan. It's probably what that is. It's going to sweep down into Judah. Will it stop there? No. What else do you know about? Anybody else know what about the Syrian captivity? I think it goes clear into Egypt, and then the Egyptians conquer the Assyrians. And they sweep back north. He conquers Egypt? Is that what direction it goes?
Into what is present day Iran,
Okay.
and they go towards Macedonia. It's a big empire.
It's a big empire. So those Egypt, Iran, Macedonia, all that is what will become. But I know they mix. The Egyptians and the Assyrians kind of mix as well with everybody else there. It's not so much like when you see the Babylonian captivity, you go into Babylon for a period of time, the people are gone. Those 10 tribes are lost, and so if they survive, they intermingle. It's no longer what it was.
It's interesting that Jerusalem survived.
Yeah. survives the, yeah, you're right. It survives the Assyrian assault, but it doesn't survive the Babylonian assault. Remnant, at best.
Jerusalem's pretty viable up until that time, but when they destroy everything, then you're a remnant,
Yeah.
a thin one.
Then thread. Despite the incoming Assyrian captivity, what assurance still holds in this prophecy? I got it underlined. God still owns the land. It's still his land. And this is the land where his son's going to come from. It's where the word's going to come from. It's going to come from there. Some people use that as a prophecy of more than that. Some people will use this to kind of have an eternal lease on the land for the Jews, but I don't see that. So, Chuck?
Well, I'm kind of wondering,
I don't want to read too much into it, but when it says even to the neck, I would consider Jerusalem to be the head. So it didn't get to the head.
Yeah, you didn't get to the head.
It
Jerusalem.
just got to the neck, which meant most of it was conquered.
Yeah, most of the time. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Like the symbolism is like rich. Yeah, you're right. It leaves that. So verses 9 through 15, God is refuge for, God is ruin. Verses 8, chapter 8, verses 9 to 10. Be broken, you peoples, and be shattered. Give ear, all you far countries. Strap on your armor and be shattered. Strap on your armor and be shattered. Take counsel together, but it will come to nothing. Speak a word, but it will not stand, for God is with us. What will God do with his people when the land of Judah is attacked? And they do, what can they do to protect themselves? My grammar is terrible when I put together some, I ought to proofread is what I ought to do, but it takes all the fun out of it. So what's God going to do with his people when this attack comes? And what can they do to protect themselves? You're going to handle this on your own. If you wanted it on your own, you can handle it on your own. You can't really handle it on your own. You're going to face it on your own. You're going to face the music. It's kind of like this is written like a poem. It kind of looks like music to me. It's written like a poem. Even that repeated line about strap on your armor and be shattered, that sounds kind of like a song. You don't see that at the end of a song somewhere. What can they do to protect themselves? Not much. Actually, verse 10 says nothing. You can't put on your armor. You're broken. You're going to be broken. And then the part at the end, for God is with us. This is God's plan. It'd be tough to read that and then stand there and be a part of it, overthrowing everything, crushing everything. Like Grant said, the flood that comes in there and does it, it just takes everything. It would be tough to see this and know that God's with this. What message should come from this, and how do you think this would be received? So the message is, ain't nothing you can do. God's hand is behind this flood of destruction that's coming. How do you think the people receive this? Disbelief's a really good answer because it's something coming up here. You're right. Disbelief's, maybe. We see that with people who live on the beach. Hurricanes coming, and we're going to have storm surge. If you live on the beach, you have to leave. You will die. You cannot beat the ocean. Do they? Not all of them. The disbelief in it. It's never happened here. It's never. Hawaii has tsunami evacuation zones that are up so high that, if tsunami's coming, you got to get above that line. And I know when Japan had the tsunami with that cracked that nuclear power plant, they said they found stones which were hundreds of years old that was inscribed on them, don't build anything below this level. And people did. Why? They didn't believe it. The disbelief is always there. So what else? Is disbelief the only thing? Think there'll be some anger with God? I think you'd see that. And I think we've seen that before. You know, the prophet tells them to change their ways. What do? Kill the prophet. You know, that's what you expect to see. Moving on to verse 11. For the Lord spoke thus to me with his strong hand upon me, and warned me not to walk in the way of this people, saying, do not call conspiracy all that this people call conspiracy, and do not fear what they fear, nor be in dread. But the Lord of hosts, him you shall honor as holy. Let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. And he will become a sanctuary, and a stone of offense, and a rock of stumbling to both houses of Israel, a trap and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many shall stumble upon it, shall stumble on it. They shall fall and be broken, and they shall be snared and taken. So verse 12 talks about a conspiracy. Do not call conspiracy all that this people calls conspiracy. What do you think they're going to call conspiracy about Isaiah saying the army that you're wanting? No. What do you think they're going to call conspiracy in this whole Assyrian flood? That's the conspiracy. That's the conspiracy, and it looks like Isaiah's. They've aligned the king of. They contracted the king of Assyria to take over. Aram and Israel, and then it's going to flood onto Judah. It almost looks like Isaiah is calling this upon Judah. Conspiracy looks like Isaiah's taking out his own vengeance on something. And and people would probably say that when you just hear his words. God's words are, don't fall into this trap. Why shouldn't Isaiah fear what the people fear? And where should Isaiah find his refuge? It sounds like God's going to protect Isaiah. He's going to protect Isaiah, and I think he protects his sons too, through this whole thing. He protects them. Don't be afraid of what everybody else has to fear. You'll be protected through this. Find your refuge in God. You haven't left God. Isaiah hadn't left God at this time. Isaiah hadn't left God, so that's where his refuge is going to be, is in that God will give him refuge. How is God both a sanctuary and a rock of stumbling? Verse 14. He will become a sanctuary and a stone of offense and a rock of stumbling to both houses of Israel, a trap and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. How is God both a sanctuary and a stone of offense or a rock of stumbling, a trap, a snare? Can he be both? He is both, right?
No, we're going to do it our way. It's a stumbling block.
For those who believe, he's a sanctuary. For those who say, I'll do it on my own way, he's a stumbling block. That'll get you in trouble. He is the guy that'll carry out both parts of judgment. We don't like to talk about the bad part of judgment. To be honest, we just don't like to talk about it. And it's not the news I want to hear, to be honest, And so we don't talk about it much. The reality is, it's there. In 1 Peter 2, 7 through 8, so the honor is for you who believe, but for those who do not believe, the stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. We know that's Christ. And a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. They stumble because they disobey the word, as they are destined to do. Christ is saying, I misspelled Christ. How is that even possible? How is Christ both a sanctuary and a stone of stumbling? You would think autocorrect would at least get that. Really? So we know that Christ is the same way. You believe in Christ, it's the only way in. And it's terrible news. I know a lot of good people who don't. It's a stone of stumbling at that point. The gathering darkness will finish up the chapter. Verse 16, bind up the testimony, seal the teaching among my disciples. I will wait for the Lord who is hiding his face from the house of Jacob, and I will hope in him. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord has given me are signs and portents in Israel from the Lord of hosts who dwells on Mount Zion. What do you think it means that Isaiah is going to bind up the testimony and seal it? And why do you think he's doing this? He's done talking. God's done prophesying. He's going to seal it up. He's going to close it off. He's going to save it for us, essentially, to look at this. Save it for later generations. He's done talking. It is too late. It's too late to do anything. And him and his sons are silent for years, is my understanding after this. So it's written. There ain't much you can do about it. But what assurance is made in verse 18? Behold, I and the children whom the Lord has given me are signs and portents in Israel from the Lord of hosts who dwells on Mount Zion. The assurance is that remnant gets through. The assurance is some of God's people will get through. When they don't have to in order to bring the Christ, in order to bring Emmanuel, it has to be that way. There has to be a genetic thread. And then picking up in verse 19, and when they say to you, inquire of the mediums and the necromancers who chirp and mutter, should not the people inquire of their God? Should they inquire of the dead on behalf of the living? To the teaching and to the testimony. If they will not speak according to this word, it is because they have no dawn. Like Chuck said, maybe that's disbelief. They don't believe God's word, so where do they turn? Turn to the mediums. You turn to the necromancers. You get your palm read, you get the crystal ball, get the magic 8-ball out, and find out something that you would be more in tune to believe in. Nobody wants to hear about doom and destruction. So you try listening for something that you're in tune with. So that's where we're at. Why? Well, again, the disbelief. What warning comes to those who seek supernatural help rather than listening to God? They seek other answers. And that is, it says they have no dawn. There will be no morning. You'll never come out of the night looking for the truth somewhere else. And in verse 21, they will pass through the land, greatly distressed and hungry. And when they are hungry, they will be enraged and will speak contemptuously against their king and their God and turn their faces upward. And they will look to the earth, but behold, distress and darkness, the gloom of anguish, and they will be thrust into thick darkness. As the people seek counsel and direction from the mediums and necromancers, what condition will they find themselves in? Darker and darker times. They will not find the answer, and they will not find the truth, and they will not find relief. There's more lost. More lost. Yeah, thrust into thick darkness. So if you take 2 verses out of this, Isaiah 5-6 and Isaiah 8:22, the Lord spoke to me again, because his people has refused the waters of Shiloah that flow gently, and rejoice over Rezin and the son of Remaliah. And they will look unto the earth, but behold, distress and darkness, the gloom of anguish, and they will be thrust into the thick darkness. It's not the journey you want to take. You want to stay with the flowing waters of the scent, the flowing waters of God's healing. If you rely on man, rely on the world, darker and darker times. So that's where we'll leave it, right there. So chapter 9 is yours. All right, thank you all. Maybe 10. You never can tell.